Hi and welcome to this video in which I will be telling you about XLOOKUP. So this is a new addition to the lookup functions. It is very powerful and it has more features than VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. But a challenge is that it is available only in Excel 2021 or Excel 365 and versions after that. It is not available in Excel 2019 and earlier versions. So even though a lot of the Excel users would not be able to use it, it is worth learning about because in most corporates, MS Office is continuously updated and there this can be very useful. So without further ado, let's learn about XLOOKUP. So here I have this sheet containing data of employees in a company. So there is employee serial number, the role of that particular employee, the college that particular employee is from, city type, CTC, and the experience in months. In this file, using this data, I'll be showing you all the features of XLOOKUP one by one. So if you want to practice along, you can download this sheet from the resources of this video. So first of all, let me show you a simple example of using XLOOKUP in a similar way that we use VLOOKUP. So how we can replace VLOOKUP using XLOOKUP, that is what we will see in this first example. So I'm moving to the next sheet, which is simple example. Here I want to find the CTC of whatever serial number I enter here. So this is what we usually do when we are using VLOOKUP. Either I can write is equal to VLOOKUP and then select this value and then go to the lookup data, select the table here and apply VLOOKUP as we usually do. Now to do that same thing using XLOOKUP, let me show you. So let's enter is equal to XLOOKUP. So Excel is suggesting me XLOOKUP. Click on tab. Now XLOOKUP takes 6 values, 3 of them are mandatory and 3 are optional. So right now I'm going to enter only the 3 which are mandatory ones. The first one is lookup value. So lookup value is going to be the serial number corresponding to which I'm going to find the CTC. So that serial number value will be in this cell, comma. The second is lookup array. So this is not the lookup table, this is the lookup array. What that means is, instead of selecting the whole table, we just have to select that array or that list of values from which that particular value is to be searched. So that array is from 1 to the last serial number because we are searching the serial number. So Control Shift down and you can see that we have B2 to B1339, which is the last cell containing the serial number. Now comma. The third one is return array. So corresponding to the position of this B3 value in this first array, from which array should we return the corresponding value. So that array is CTC value. We want the CTC. So I'm going to select this array. Control Shift down and close bracket. So although it has 6 parameters, 3 of them were mandatory and we have mentioned those 3 parameters here. Click on enter and you can see that we have the CTC corresponding to serial number 20. So it is 63,508. Let's go and check. Serial number 20 is here and CTC is 63,508. If I go and change the serial number to 10, CTC gets updated. I can go to 10th serial number employee and you can see that this is the CTC that we are getting. So this is similar to VLOOKUP. You could have applied VLOOKUP here. You would have the same response. Now, one additional feature that I wanted to show here is when we are getting back value, it need not be a single value. We can get multiple values back from the matching array. Let me show you how that is done. So previously we only found CTC. This time, corresponding to the serial number, I want to find city type, CTC and experience in months. So basically these three columns I want to find instead of only CTC. So now I go to the first cell and type XLOOKUP. The lookup value is serial number. Lookup array is also same. Serial number is contained in this array. But the return array is going to be not just CTC, it is going to be the array of these three values. So I've selected this entire table from D2 to F1339. Now I close this bracket and press enter. So what happens here is for serial number 20, it goes to the lookup array. It searches for that value in array. It comes down to this point. Then in our return array, it again goes down to this point. And since we had selected three different columns, it returns the value of three cells instead of one single cell. So you can compare that these are the correct values. If you change the value to 15 here, all these three values get updated. In the formula bar also, you can see that in the first cell, you will be able to see the formula that we entered. And in the second cell, that same formula is shown, but it is not editable. You can see that it is grayed out. So that means that although it is getting value due to this formula, but this formula is not entered for this cell. This is entered in some other cell. So this was the simple example. In this, we saw how to use XLOOKUP as a replacement for VLOOKUP, and also one feature where we can use VLOOKUP to get multiple cell values returned corresponding to the value in the lookup array. Now, another great feature of XLOOKUP is that using XLOOKUP, you can look up to the left of the array also. In VLOOKUP, we could return only values which are to the right of our lookup array. But in XLOOKUP, corresponding to this serial number, I can go and get the value of roll also. Although this roll column is to the left of serial number, XLOOKUP can go and get the value to the left of this column also. And that is pretty obvious because here we are not selecting the table. Here we are selecting two different arrays. So let's apply the formula here also is equal to XLOOKUP. Lookup value is this, comma, go to the data. This is our lookup array, comma. The roll is our return array, and I'm closing the bracket, hit enter, and there you go. So this 20th serial number employee is currently in the role of marketing manager. So since we are not selecting a table, we are selecting two different arrays. The relative position of those arrays is not important. You can look up to the right of the lookup array also, and you can look up to the left of the lookup array also. Now let's move on to the next feature. So while using VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP, one of the common things is that when you're looking up a value and it is not present in the lookup table, then it shows NA. So to display an error, it shows #NA. Now we often do not want to see #NA in our table. So to handle that, we had to use a separate formula. Sometimes we used if error, or sometimes we had to do more processing on that column. So to get rid of that, In XLOOKUP, the fourth parameter solves that problem very easily. So let me show you how. For example, here, suppose there is a serial number of 2000 and in our data, there is no such serial number. The last serial number that we have is 1338. Now if I apply the XLOOKUP formula, this is the value. This is the lookup array, and here's the CTC. Now the fourth parameter is if not found. If that lookup value is not found in lookup array, then what has to be shown here? So in double quotation marks, I'm writing not found. And I'm closing the bracket here. Hit enter. And you can see that instead of showing #NA, it is showing me not found. If I enter some value which is present, you will get the CTC value. But if that serial number is not present, in that case, it will not show error, it will show not found value. So the extra processing that we had to do to handle these #NA errors, that need not be done now. We can straight away use this fourth parameter, which can replace the NA values using the string that we provide. Now, in the next example, I want to show you that XLOOKUP can not only replace VLOOKUP, it can also replace HLOOKUP. Basically, the idea is when we are looking up in an array, the array need not be vertical, it can be horizontal also. So if I'm going to find out the CTC of this serial number, I can write XLOOKUP. This is the lookup value, and this time I'm going to select the lookup array in horizontal direction. So the lookup array and the return array need not be in vertical direction only, it can be in horizontal direction also. So this time serial number is in horizontal direction, comma, the returned array is also going to be horizontal. And I close the bracket here, hit enter, and you can see that for second serial number, I'm getting the CTC value. So XLOOKUP can easily replace HLOOKUP also. The only difference is instead of selecting the array vertically, you will be selecting the array horizontally. Moving on to the next feature. Now this feature is based on the match mode. So the fifth parameter of XLOOKUP is matching mode. And if you remember in VLOOKUP also, there were two options. One was approximate match and the other was exact match. And we used to enter 0 when we wanted to do exact match. So by default in VLOOKUP, approximate matching is done. If you do not enter the value of the matching parameter, by default VLOOKUP will be doing approximate match. But in business scenarios, most of the time we are doing exact match, and that is fixed in XLOOKUP. So by default, XLOOKUP does exact match. Till now, we have not been providing the value of the fifth parameter, which is matching mode. So by default, it was doing exact match. Now I'm going to show you an example where we are not going to do exact match. We will be using refined approximate matches. So there are better options of doing approximate match in XLOOKUP, and I'll show you those options now. So the scenario here is we had this data of employees and the company is planning to give New Year bonus to these employees based on their experience in the company. So let's look at the first table only right now. In this table, if you have an experience of 0 to 11 months, the bonus is 1%. If you have experience of 12 to 23 months, your bonus is 2.5%. Then from 24 to 35 months, your bonus is 5%, and so on. So if this is what is decided by the company, Now take the example of this first employee. The value here is 19. We want to find which category this person belongs to. We want to find the largest experience number which is less than 19. So there are two numbers less than 19, 0 and 12, and we want to find the largest of these two, that is 12 months. Basically, this person belongs to the category of 12 to 23 months. That is why this person should get a bonus of 2.5%. So this is what we want to achieve. Corresponding to the months, which is not exactly written in the lookup table. We want to do this approximate matching. We want to find the largest number which is less than or equal to this value. When we find that number, we want to get the corresponding bonus value. To do that, let's write XLOOKUP. This is the lookup value, comma. This is my lookup array, comma. This is the return array, comma. Now, if not found, if the value is not found, what should be shown? Right now, I do not want to enter this parameter, so I'll just put another comma. So when we do this, that is when we do not mention any parameter, the default value of that parameter is shown, and for this particular parameter, the default is #NA only. Now we are at the fifth parameter, which is match mode. Now you can see there are 4 options. One is exact match. One is exact match or next smaller item. Then is exact match or next larger item. Then we have wildcard character match. In this scenario, we want either the exact match, either the experience is 19 months, or the next smaller item. That is, next smaller is 12. So this is what we want to do. Either double click on it or enter -1. So I'm double clicking on this. -1 is entered here. I'm not entering the 6th parameter, which is search mode. We will see that later. Closing the brackets here and hitting enter. You can see that it has done that approximate match. 19 belongs to this category, 12 to 23 months. And corresponding to that, we are getting a bonus of 2.5%. If I want to extend this to other cells, I'll have to fix the cell reference here, because this array stays the same for other cells also. So selecting this value and hitting F4 adds the dollar values. Similarly for this matching array also, F4, enter. Now I can double click on this bottom right corner to get all the values. So you can check this person who is having 56 months of experience belongs to this category, 48 to 59, and correspondingly the bonus is 10%. Now if you have other situation, which means take this table. Here I am given that up to an experience of 12 months, the value is 2.5%. Then from 13 to 24, so these are the upper limits given to me. Previously, I had the lower limits given to me. If I have the upper limits with me, then I will use the other match mode, which will give me the exact value or the next larger value. So in this case, this 19 months will fall in this category, that is experience up to 24 months. The corresponding bonus is going to be 5%. So here, while using XLOOKUP, select this value. This is the lookup array. Press F4, comma, matching array. Press F4, comma, and press a comma again. So I'm at the 5th parameter. This time I want exact match or the next larger item. So I'm entering 1 here and then closing the brackets, press enter, and you can see I'm getting 5%. We have these two options for approximate match. Either we can find exact number and the next lowest, or the exact number and the next larger value. So corresponding to 19, we are getting 5% here because this is the upper limit of experience. So you can check for any other value. For 56 months, I'm getting 12.5%. We have 999 here because we wanted to put one upper limit value, which is definitely going to be more than any actual experience months value. So in earlier functions, that is VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, we only had two options, approximate match or exact match. And by default, it was doing approximate match. XLOOKUP, on the other hand, by default does exact match. And we can use approximate match in two ways, either to find exact or lower value, or to find exact or higher value. The next feature is matching using a wildcard. So if you are not familiar with wildcards are special characters which symbolize presence of any character or any number of characters. So for example, if I want to find people whose name starts with A, the way to represent that is A star. So it starts with A and then there is any value after that. It can have any number of characters and those characters could be anything. Similarly, there is another wildcard which is this question mark. Question mark represents presence of a single character. So if I specify J question mark M, it could be any character in place of that question mark. It could be JAM, JBM, JIM, JEM, anything like that. So question mark represents a single character. It could be anything. And star represents any number of characters and it could be anything. So let's take an example to see how this can be used in actual business scenario. Here I have this table where first I have ID and name in the same cell, and corresponding to that person we have their CTC and experience values. Now when looking up, I just want to enter employee ID. I do not want to enter the employee ID and the name. And corresponding to that, I want to get the CTC value. Now, this could not be done using VLOOKUP, but this can be done using wildcards in XLOOKUP. To do that, we will use XLOOKUP. The value we are going to look at is this, and in double quotation marks, I'm going to add this star. So look carefully at the lookup value. Lookup value is value in F3, this value, concatenated with a star. Star represents that after this employee ID, there could be anything. It could be any name, it could be any value. This star representing that there can be any number of characters after F3, but this value should stay in the front. Now I can put comma. This is my lookup array, comma. This is the matching array, comma. Then the fourth parameter is if not found, that we do not want to mention right now. So comma. Then there is match mode. So the matching mode, this time we have to select as wildcard character match. So this wildcard will not work if you do not select this. So we have to select this wildcard character match. The value for wildcard character match is 2. Either you enter 2 or double click on that option. And the last one is search mode, which also we are not specifying right now. Close the brackets, hit enter, and you can see that I am getting the CTC value for the 4th ID. So even if I change this to 6, it auto updates. So the idea of using wildcards is if you do not know or if you do not want to use the entire string to match, you can take a particular unique part of that string, put wildcards around it, and then match with your lookup array. If you want to know more about this star wildcard, question mark wildcard, and this tilde wildcard, you can visit this link. I have added a link in this file. You can go to this link from Microsoft and you can know more about these wildcards. Now moving on to the last part, which is talking about the search modes. So in the XLOOKUP formula, if we enter XLOOKUP here, the 6th parameter is search mode. In search mode, we have 4 options. So first of all, let me tell you where is this searching happening. We provide the lookup value, which is the first parameter, and we search the position of this lookup value in the lookup array. Now by default, this searching is done from top to bottom. Let me show you here. Suppose for tier 1. So you can see there are many tier 1s in this particular table. But if I am doing XLOOKUP for this value, this is my lookup table and CTC is my matching array. Now, if I do not mention anything else and close the bracket here, by default, it will go and find this value from top to bottom. Tier 1 matches with the first value itself. So it responds with the first value from the CTC column and we get this value. However, if you want to change this behavior, you can use this 6th parameter. Here, by default, it is search from first to last. But if you enter -1, it will search from last to first. So if I select this and hit enter, you will see that it will go down. The first tier 1 value it sees is this. So it will respond with this corresponding CTC value. So 53203 should be shown here. So by default, it is set to top to bottom. You can change that behavior to bottom to top. And the other 2 options here is, there is an option of binary search, sorted ascending order, and binary search, sorted descending order. So when this can be used is, this can be only used when in the column you have unique values and those unique values are sorted in ascending or descending order. For example, we have this serial number column. Here we have unique values and these are sorted in ascending order. So here, if I have serial number, let's enter 10 here and I want to do a binary search for this value, lookup value, matching value, comma, 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 and this is binary search in ascending order and hit enter. So it goes to this 10th value and returns it. Now you may ask, what is the difference here? The only difference is when we are doing a binary search, your system will be able to find the lookup value faster if it is doing a binary search. So binary search is a searching algorithm which works better only if you have the data in ascending or descending order. If you have large amount of data from which the value will be looked up and the array has unique values and it is sorted in ascending or descending order. Then using binary search will speed up the application of this formula. So you can see that XLOOKUP is full of features. It can replace VLOOKUP, it can replace HLOOKUP, it can does processing of hash NA. It has much more options in matching mode. We can use wildcards also, and there are options of searching mode also. The only reason it is not being used so widely is that it is not applicable for Excel versions 2019 and earlier. This is why a lot of people are not knowing about XLOOKUP right now. However, over the period of time when most PCs have newer versions of Excel, I think VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP will become redundant and they will not be used anymore. Only XLOOKUP will be used in place of those. So that's all in this video. I'll see you in the next one.